bonjour à tout le monde, bienvenue. We are very glad to have you here, and we hope you enjoyed the conference. Grace, the floor is yours, and continue with why we are here today.
So today we are here to look back and share the knowledge, the outcomes, lesson learned from our Bugesera program, which was piloted in 2020. Also, together we are going to rethink the societal healing approaches in Rwanda. So it's an interactive conference. We hope you're going to enjoy it. Please be aware that you have space to ask questions and also share your knowledge. So I would like to invite our senior Director of Program, René Larivière, to welcome us officially. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure for me to be here today and take part in this discussion on the very important topic of mental health and psychosocial support. It's wonderful to see how far Rwanda has come, building up from the pain and destruction of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The country's steady progress on the development path is truly remarkable. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to say a few words about the importance of this work and why Interpeace, a peace-building organization, works on this topic. In Rwanda today, a significant number of citizens still live with trauma that affects their ability to engage in social and economic activities. High levels of trauma also make it impossible to rebuild trust, which is a key ingredient for building social cohesion. It's against this backdrop that Interpeace, with its partners, jointly developed and pursued increasingly integrated programmatic approaches that sought to emphasize community-based reconciliation, psychosocial support, and collaborative livelihoods. We started a very modest pilot project initiative to develop new and innovative ways to build lasting peace, but it's taken us on an extraordinary journey to achieve more holistic change. By working in this integrated way and approach with our partners, it's very much aligned with Interpeace's mission of enhancing resilience for peace. We can therefore better support locally owned and embedded solutions that reach citizens effectively and also at scale so that they can better survive and ultimately thrive.
The program we are celebrating today had particular added value of proposing holistic peace-building approach, developed and tested research-based and context-informed intervention protocols. Program implementers developed tools that simultaneously help to mitigate the symptoms of trauma, strengthen psychological resilience, nurture tolerance and trust within families and between communities, as well as support sustainable livelihoods. We look forward to a continued partnership to sustain and expand what we have started.
We're happy to be here to mark the successes of this pilot phase and the end of what has been a pilot flagship action of the European Union in a partnership with Rwanda. And while this pilot phase unfortunately comes to an end, we do hope that the impact of that support will continue to be felt long after today. Thanks to the efforts of everybody gathered here today and many others, we've seen how our efforts to promote collective trauma healing in Rwanda through mental health, psychosocial and life skill support are having a positive impact on communities that less than 3 decades ago were torn apart by the genocide against the Tutsis. We are hearing how former enemies, victims and perpetrators have become to trust each other again and develop ways to rebuild the communities. That we hope that it will give us a renewed sense of hope and determination in our efforts. And I can assure you that the European Union continues to be a partner, an engaged partner to the Rwandan government, to the civil society, and to Rwanda in this reconciliation process. So murakoze.
Dear friends, dear colleagues, I'm honored to stand here today on behalf of the national and international experts that supported the research and the design and implementation of this program. So when addressing the mental health challenges caused by the genocide, we had to be aware that we're dealing with a much more complex problem than just treating PTSD. And the other thing that we did through the baseline survey was we tried to develop an understanding of the different profiles of citizens based on their mental health resilience or mental health fragility. And we found that there were 5 different groups that present with different profiles in the population. There was what we call the substance abuse profile, so people whose main problem is that they're abusing substances and being aggressive. The anxiety depression profile, people who are experiencing severe depression and generalized anxiety. The profile of emptiness, social alienation, which are people that are feeling disconnected from society and from their families. The profile of invisible wounds, which are people that seem to be doing well in their daily life and you wouldn't catch them with a diagnostic screening, but when you look inside, there is a lot of wound that they're still carrying around within themselves. And then the resilient profile, who are people that are somehow thriving through all of these challenges. So what we have been doing is developing different approaches to customize our intervention based on each of these profiles. So for instance, for the substance abuse profile, the need is to improve impulse control, help them to make realistic life plans, offer second chance for literacy and vocational training. For people with anxiety and depression, what we need is structured support for socio-emotional skills and integrate them again in livelihood and vocational training. For people suffering from emptiness and alienation, they need support to redevelop social identity and reconnect with others in the community. For people carrying invisible wounds, they need support through healing spaces to transition to a new life orientation, and also skills for to live in the present moment. And finally, and importantly, the resilient also have a role to play here. And the resilient people should be identified through community screenings and encouraged to play a constructive role as leaders and facilitators of livelihood and healing initiatives. So this segmentation approach, if you like, was an important part of the program's design, and it really helped us to make sure that people were receiving the support that they actually needed the most.
Thank you very much, Alexandros. So in total, the program reached that number of people, 7,313. Out of those, 3,323 were male, 3,990 were female. You will see on the screen, again, I want to go into the details because I don't want to spend too much time, especially because we are going to have a panel after the break of community members who will come to tell their own story, and I think they can tell it better than I can. So the figures are just showing how many people we've reached. The program also worked with Rwanda Correctional Service to train correctional officers. So 32 correctional officers acquired skills in terms of prisoner rehabilitation and psychosocial support through the psychoeducation training. Rwanda Correctional Service has existed for many years and has done a lot of good work. What we did as a program was to support development of a standardized guide, curriculum, for them to do exactly what they have been doing. Rwanda Correctional Service was very central in this process. The development of this curriculum, Interpeace provided the financial support. We managed to bring in inputs from different actors, but the process was largely led by Rwanda Correctional Service, whom I really would like to acknowledge and thank for that collaboration.
nkuvure yankuye ahantu habi hari hakomeye ariko iyi saha ya nona sinabashaga n'ubu ndashima Imana ntago nabashaka no kugera mu ruhame nkuru ngo mbe nagira ikintu mvuga nahoraga numva mbese muri je niyanze ntabasha no kuvuga ariko ndashima Imana.
Mu gihe cya Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi nagiye mu bitero, nakoze kuri bariyeri. Bigeze igihe cyo gufungwa, narafunzwe. Uko mubona aha, uyu mwana ni umukobwa wanjye. Niyo mama w'uyu bazaga kunsura, arambazaga batari ko wowe bimeze bite? Abwira ni jewe, niho ndarengana rwose, ni ibibazo by'Abatutsi. Ndetse nkumva nashaka no kubavugisha n'igihe cyose nari ntashye. Ariko aho tugiriye muri mvura nkuvure cyangwa se muri multifamily, ubu ndi Bizimana wakijijwe rwose, ufite umutekano we imuhira.
What is your take as RBC for the mental health, as a mental health expert? What does it mean using a holistic approach to handle mental health issues?
Thank you. As we always said, one size can't fit all. We believe we used many strategies to handle mental health issues in Rwanda, but to be honest, we need more approaches so that we can provide a holistic mental health care on our population.
So what we learn is if we put enough effort in supporting these community structures, maybe we can address some of these gaps. The second one is, which we are very thankful, is this ownership of the government for these programs. Yes, I mentioned the design. They were part of the design, but they were not only part of the design, they were also part of the implementations. What we need is to discuss together the scalability of this program with the contribution of everyone involved. Interpeace produced the protocols, but the protocols are not protocols of Interpeace. Those are the protocols for the country. So we need to discuss how are we going not only to institutionalize, but also to integrate them in the existing practices.
Nyuma yo kubona umusaruro muri ibikorwa byakozwe na Interpeace na Prisoner Fellowship, numva bitagarukira hano twareba uburyo biba institutionalize mu buryo bwo gushyiraho ishuri ryigisha ibijyanye n'amahoro. Mwavuze za module nyinshi zikorwa zigishwa hirya no hino, ariko mu buryo bwo kubaka society yacu no kugira ngo ibi bintu bibe kitegerezo bibashe kuba byagera no ku bandi, baje kubaho nk'ishuri ryafata ibintu bikoresha mu buryo bwo gufasha, yaba ibintu biramba kuruta kuba umushinga gusa, ku buryo n'abantu bavuye hanze baza kigira ku Rwanda.
Icyo navuga cyo nuko iterambere ridashoboka tudakijije amakimbirane mu miryango yacu. Ikindi, nta nubwo iterambere riri bushoboke mu gihe dufite urubyiruko rudasobanukiwe neza n'amateka y'imiryango yabo. Ikindi, nk'umusaruro wavuye muri aya matsinda ni uko urubyiruko rwabonye akanya ko kwitandukanya n'amateka mabi y'ababyeyi babo. Umwana ukomoka ku mubyeyi wakoze Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi ntakomeze kwikorera uwo mutwaro wo kuvuga ngo nanjye burya ndi umujenosideri, ahubwo akubaka amateka ye mashya.
Today you have seen that Interpeace pilot program in Bugesera came at the right time to test this holistic approach. According to the testimonies we had today from the community members who participated in the program, the approach proved to be effective. The protocols that Mr. Frank has mentioned were developed and they are in line with the ministry's vision to promote standardization in the societal healing sector. They are a great contribution to the field And we hope that we will have a moment to evaluate the effectiveness, and we also ensure that those protocols will be institutionalized where applicable and be used by different partners.